All right, welcome to Bet the Edge. I'm Jay Croucher here with, for the first time in Bet the Edge history, the great Matthew Berry, my friend, one of the three stars of Fantasy Football Happy Hour.
Sure.
You can argue about the order there, but Matthew, we're going to talk to you about college basketball today. I know you often take shots at me for talking about basketball on our other show, but we're going to do all basketball here. With your bracket, we're going to start. Can you give everyone some insight into how you go about filling out your bracket, Matthew?
Yeah, no, listen, this is exciting for me. Before we even get there, let's just start here that I'm excited that my debut on Bet the Edge, that suddenly the time that I become part of the Bet the Edge universe, the Bet the Edge cinematic universe, is on a subject in which I am not an expert. I'll be the first to admit that. I like the fact that you think there are only 3 stars at Fantasy Football Happy Hour. Cut to Lawrence Jackson just chasing, catching strays here on Bet the Edge. I'm in favor of that. Normally, I'm the one who takes shots at Lawrence, but I like that you're just doing it without him to defend himself here. But great. No, happy to be on Bet the Edge. Here's an edge you can bet. Don't listen to what I'm about to say. There you go. There's an edge. My process is to do it very quickly because I don't watch a ton of college basketball, Jay. I want to be very honest about this. I want to be clear. I have a couple of teams that I like, that I root for. Obviously, I went to Syracuse, so I do watch some Syracuse. I grew up in College Station, Texas, so I'll watch some A&M basketball as well. My kid goes to Alabama, so I'll watch some Bama. But honestly, I don't watch a ton. I'm not a fiend like you. I have a life. I spend time with my children, Jay. I'm not like you, where I come into work, I talk about betting, and then I go home and open up my phone and my computer and ignore my wife and children in order to continue to watch sports and bet on sports. Some of us are more well-rounded, Jay. Some of us have more of a life. And so that's why I'm sure you have much more detailed analysis than I do. But what I can tell you is the names of all 5 of my kids. Whereas I think you can name 1, maybe 2.
Yeah. Listen, to your comment on Lawrence Jackson, Lawrence Jackson's like the Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer character.
Sure.
Also Oscar nominated, but not as frequently appearing as the other 3. So that's fair. No, it's a good point as well about your kids and their names. Yesterday I was with my kids, Matthew, but I was kicking the soccer ball with my 3-year-old Remy as I was streaming Ligue 1 soccer on my phone, trying to sweat out this bet on Stade Brestois to make the top 4. So I like to multitask with getting my futures bets home and loving my children.
Sure.
Let's get to your bracket because it's not great.
Anyway, my process very quickly though. My process though, honestly, is I do it as I go through it. I do it quickly, and then I will say that back in my days at ESPN, I have a friend. I just have to give a shout out. A buddy of mine that I worked with there, who's a researcher there, who is a crazy basketball guy, Kevin Pulsifer. He's on Twitter. I think I'm Pulsitivity, but Kevin Pulsifer, you look him up on there on Twitter. He's a researcher at ESPN, and he's a crazy college basketball guy. So what I always do is after I do my bracket, I ask Kevin for his, and Kevin always sends me his bracket, and then I'll compare the 2. And if there's an upset or 2 that he has, I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. So I do cheat a little bit, and I want to give a shout out to my friend Kevin Pulsifer because I do cheat off him.
Yeah, I will say, being a man in your position, one of the best things is that you get a network of people who know a lot about subject matters you do not. So it's good to take advantage of that network. Anyway, let's take a look at this bracket. There's 3 things I want to pick out. 1, you have UConn going deep, that's fine. 2, you have Texas A&M beating Houston, which is very suspect. I know you don't follow college basketball closely, but Houston's very good. And then you have Michigan State going down in round 1, which is fine. That's a coin flip against Mississippi State. But you have a strange thing against Michigan State, right?
Well, I hate East Lansing. I won't talk about my one time and only time. I will never go back to East Lansing. But my one time in East Lansing was just an awful experience. This has come up a lot on Fantasy Football Happy Hour. You know that I am anti-Michigan State. I am, go blue. And I have friends that went to Michigan State and they're lovely people. But just there's been a lot of scandal at Michigan State over the years. I will just say that also, by the way, Michigan State always seems to underperform in the tournament. Magic Johnson isn't walking through that door. So I just, give me Mississippi State just because, listen, I'm not picking Michigan State. I'm just not. I'm sorry. All jokes aside, this is not Tom Izzo's best squad. No. I think is fair to say.
No, it's certainly not. All right, let's talk about Texas A&M.
Sure.
Your beloved Aggies. Is this a purely a homer pick, or you actually think from what you know that they can make a little bit of a run?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, right? I mean, so it's definitely a homer pick. I mean, let's be clear. It's a homer pick, but honestly, Texas A&M, two things. I really like Buzz Williams. I'm a Buzz Williams guy. Like, I think he's always, as somebody that watched him for a long time at Marquette, when I was, at Syracuse and when he was coaching Marquette and whatever, Buzz Williams teams are always well prepared, especially in the tournament. They're always a tough out. And, in the SEC, they made a run in the SEC tournament, tough second half against Florida there in the semifinals, but they made a nice run here. It comes down to, what they're really good at, I think, is 3-point shooting and rebounding. And so listen, those two things are going to be keys against Houston, right? But I think that there's a chance they can make this into a grinded out game with Houston and sort of obviously I think they beat Nebraska and then they get to Houston and there's always one crazy upset there as well. Houston is a very good team, but I feel like their style of play is a little susceptible to if it's just kind of a knockdown, drag it out kind of ugly, kind of game. That's how I think A&M beats Houston, is just kind of with an ugly game. It's a lot of rebounding. It's a 56-52 kind of game, and just they knock down enough threes to get them there.
Yep. I think Houston actually lost the game this year, Matthew, 57-53 to Iowa State. So the recipe is there to take them down. And you have UConn winning it all. UConn are the favorite to win it all. So you've really gone out on a limb there. But is there anything that you like about the Huskies?
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what I like about the Huskies. My wife went to UConn. Okay. And so what I like is spending time with my wife.
Sure.
And so happy wife, happy life, Jay. So, if you could look up from your phone every once in a while, you would realize this and you would talk to your wife and know that, I know she did not. Where did she go to school? Where did your wife go to school?
In Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden. I remember it was overseas. Yeah. So, right. So my point is that if you should pick Sweden in the World Cup to win the World Cup.
Sure.
Next time we do that. Again, happy wife, happy life. So I live in Connecticut, obviously. We do our show in Connecticut. My wife went to UConn. So we are, I'm in UConn country. So I'm more familiar with that program than I am others as well. Unbelievable run. Listen, I think Coach Hurley is fantastic. He's just the right amount of insane as well. I forget the name, but the freshman they have is fantastic. And yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm taking chalk, but I live in UConn. I live in Connecticut. My wife went to UConn. Yeah, give me the chalk, by the way. But they're always impressive. UConn always, I feel like, UConn always does well in the tournament. They overperform, and now they actually have the talent to be there as well.
Yep, tough draw for them, but they are the favorites for a reason. All right, last one for you, Matthew, then we'll get you out of here. Do you have any traditions for watching March Madness? Anything, particularly the first round, or just anything you do throughout the tournament?
Yeah, I like to here's what my tradition will be, is I will text you and I will say, Jay, what are some bets?
Sure.
And then you'll give me some bets and I will bet on them. Yeah. And then, I'm not going to watch the rest of Bet the Edge. I got to be honest with you. I'm just going to take the shortcut because I have your cell phone. I'm just going to say, Jay, give me some bets. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch those bets and I'm going to celebrate those wins and give you no credit. But if they don't pan out, then I will MF you over text. And I won't do it privately. I'll do it in our group text with all of our colleagues and friends.
That's the beauty of being a man in my position, where people do ask me for advice, and then when the bets win, they just kind of get casually lost, or others claim credit. And then when they do lose, there's only one man. There's only one man in that situation that it comes back to, and that's Jay Croucher. All right, Matthew Barry, thank you very much for hopping on, mate. Really appreciate it. Phenomenal debut for you on Bet the Edge. Appreciate your comments on both my fathering ability and your thoughts on historical dictators. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll chat to you soon.
All right. See you, Jay. Thanks.
See you,
Answer my text when I ask you for bets. Make sure you do that.
Sorry, I forgot.
I'm gonna need some actual good picks here.
Very good. All right. See you, mate.